this as negative, but honestly, this is my encyclopedia, my television, my radio, my VCR, my calendar, my spreadsheet, all of my accounting. It's everything. So I do really appreciate technology. But good evening. I'm happy to have you. I've got several people in the studio with me this evening. So I just wanted to touch base a little bit on what I've done in the past week. I haven't actually been sitting around reading romance novels. So I did visit several communities across the district. It's really important to me that I am across the district meeting people because I can't represent people that I haven't met. So I spent some time this week in Petoskey, Harbor Springs, Cross Village, which was fun, Bliss, Indian River, and Mackinac City. And in each of those towns, what we did is I announced an event via Facebook, and it was also available on the website, and invited people to join me at a specific location at a specific time. And then I kicked that off with a update on the campaign, talked a little bit about our strategy, and then talked about how people can help the campaign. And there's lots of ways to get involved in the campaign, but really my biggest focus right now is getting out and meeting our neighbors. Not only to learn a little bit about them, but to just make sure that they know that I'm running for office and that when they get to the polls in November, they're actually going to have a choice. There'll be someone on the Republican side of the ticket and someone on the Democratic side of the ticket. And if they know a little bit about me, I think you're going to see a big win for me. So as we, well, I'll tell you what, I was going to talk about next week, but let's hold off on that just a minute. So they've got an agenda for me right here. Tonight, we're focusing on the environment, which is one of my 4 main platforms. And what are you telling me, Bernard?
Camera's right there.
Oh, the camera is right there, so it's not the camera. So if it looked to you like I've been looking off over here somewhere, it's because I was looking at the wrong camera. Can you tell like I'm not a professional? But I'm doing a darn good job. So anyway, we wanted to talk about the environment. It's one of my 4 key platforms. And the environment covers so many different things. But here in Michigan, as we talk so often about our Pure Michigan campaign, so many of those businesses that we're promoting are based right here in northern Michigan, from Petoskey through on up into Mackinac City and over into Sheboygan, all the way up into the Sault Ste. Marie and Paradise. And it's really important that we protect all of that. So we need to make sure that we're not, say spilling some oil in the Straits of Mackinac by accident today. The amount of risk that we can take there, I say, is 0. As I've been a farmer for the last 19 years, my husband Gary and I have been protectors of the environment. We use buffer zones along all the waterways on our farm. We don't use any pesticides or herbicides on our farm. We do as little tilling as possible on the farm as well. So tonight I've got a special guest with me to talk a little bit more about some environmental issues. And she's somebody that I came across maybe when I met her mother at work at Burger King. And I'm excited to have Melody with me this evening. Melody, you want to come on over? I love your shirt. Let's read to the audience what it says. Protect the Great Lakes. Shut down Line 5. You're making a statement there. How old are you?
11.
11 years old. Did your mom make you wear that shirt?
No.
Oh, very interesting. So tell me a little bit about how you've taken why you've taken an interest in, I hear you are very interested in water and clean water.
Well, because the pipeline explodes or bursts, the oil that's in it will go out in our water, kill all of our lake life and lake creatures, and it'll affect our life, and we won't be able to get clean, we won't be able to drink clean water. It'll affect life.
Right. So what do you think the chances are that there could be a compromise? Okay, that's a good enough answer right there. I appreciate that. So tell me, so we've talked a little bit about Line 5 because that's what your shirt said, but there's other issues related to water. Passionate. Seems like we've talked about some things to do with drinking water. Somebody mentioned that there's a lot of areas, not even just have access to fresh drink.
I like Flint in their water.
Is there a tribal island, did I hear, that's down near Port Huron? Turtle Island? I don't know. I'm not, I mean, so interestingly enough, I'm running for state representative, but I'm not currently an expert in all of these areas. So I'll be looking for yourself and your mother and expert in each state to help provide me with it. I go to so that I can do a good job. So what other things are?
I
So tell me a little bit about yourself. You're from Petoskey? And where do you go to school?
Petoskey Middle School.
Oh, very good. And what grade are you in? Sixth grade. Okay. And it sounds like you've done a little bit of public speaking, you might say.
Yeah. Like, I went to the middle school in their auditorium, and I spoke to a whole auditorium, and with the line border, and I talked to them about how that needs to be shut down and how it'll affect our life and our animals and creatures. And
Do you know anybody who fishes for a living? Okay. How do you think that will affect them? If there was to be a compromise in the line and there was to be oil in the
well, they wouldn't really have they wouldn't have their favorite hobby to do, and they wouldn't be able to fish. They won't be able to eat the fish.
Right. Well, I really thank you for coming up and talking with
You're
me.
welcome.
Yep. You can stay here and listen, or you can go back in the audience, whichever
Okay.
you prefer.
Sure.
So I'm glad that you came up. I'm glad to have you in line with me, and I just want you to know that I have a lot of respect for people of all ages, regardless of their age. So you have the power to do a lot of great things. You're off to a great start.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. That was fantastic. Thank you, Melody. You did a great job. I'll tell you what, throughout my life, I've just had a lot of respect, like I said, for people of all ages. And it's oftentimes surprising to me and others, the wisdom that sometimes comes from our youth. And I think they deserve the respect and deserve to be listened to. And then as I look at our more mature community members, I always, I don't look at somebody and think you're old. I look at people and think you have got so much experience. I'd love to know you. So that's good. I really appreciate Melody and her family coming, and I hope you stay for the rest of the show and hear what we have to say. So I have another fabulous guest with me tonight. I remember a number of years back taking time out of my busy farm life to go knock on doors to introduce more of my community and my nearby community to my farm neighbor who was running for state representative. And I remember going to the office just a few days before the election and making phone calls reminding people to get out and vote. And indeed, in 2004, my farm neighbor, Gary McDowell, was elected to the state house to represent us. Come on over, Gary.
Well, thank you, Joanne.
Yeah,
for
take a minute and get comfortable there.
And Melody, you did a great job. As like Joanne said, it's so nice to see young people like you to get involved, because we've messed the future up bad enough. Now it's your turn to try to straighten out all the mistakes that we made. I wish you luck.
Well, thank you for coming.
Well, thank you, Joanne. Thank you for this opportunity. And I'm so excited about your race. It's just, you really are making an impact. People are talking about your race. People are taking notice. And people know that you will make a fabulous state representative. And do anything I can do, spread that word.
And by doing everything to spread that word, part of what he means is standing out in his farm field for 4 hours this week, working on installing a beautiful 4x8 photo of me.
Yes, it wasn't easy in that win, but there's a lot of dedicated people out there right now volunteering to make sure that we have somebody of your quality representing us. I'm glad to help.
Yeah. Yeah, it has been really interesting to see the energy behind me, that it's not just me out knocking doors, and it's not always apparent to, people who wouldn't have access to all the information and communication that I do with everyone. Even my brother Peter was getting nervous down in Grand Rapids the other day, thinking not enough was being done. And I'm like, Peter, you have no idea. There's literally at that moment somebody out knocking on doors in the Sioux. There was somebody out in Petoskey. There was people out in Cedarville at the same time. I was at a meeting in another town, and it's really interesting to see that people are very, very dedicated, and they're really very ready for change.
Yes, and I was outstanding in my field. Joke there. But yeah, Joanne, it's just great. And I've known you for many, many years. I said we're neighboring farmers. And I'd like you to talk a little bit more about yourself. You're involved in the community. I've been very involved in our school systems, in our communities, in our ag community. And you've always had that dedication. You've always to listen to people and to improve the quality of life in our communities. And that's what we need for you to take to Lansing and to represent us in a way that we all can be proud of.
It's been interesting as I've been running, and every once in a while different people bring up different done, and I got forgotten that I've done them. For a while, for 2 years, I was on the school improvement team, Red Deer area schools, and I had been invited to be one of 2 community member representatives on it. It gave me the opportunity to have some full day planning sessions at the intermediate school district, the principal and the superintendent and key teachers from across the staff there at the Red Deer school, and work on their long range plan. And so the fact that they had enough respect for me, looking back, it was a good opportunity for me, and I appreciate that they respected me. I also was involved, Gary and I are Farm Bureau members, and I was the chair of their promotion and education. Looking back, I'd have to go look up records to even know if it was for a year or 2 or 5 or what it might have been, but planning educational events and helping them to get agriculture in the community, or even serving on their membership as membership. One activity I did with Farm Bureau that I really enjoyed is they have the legislative leadership training for high school students every summer. And for several years, I was the one that reach out and look for the 2 students that they sponsored to that. So yeah, I did a lot on that angle. I've done a lot of things. Even with the Pickford School, there was one year when counselor was part of what she was doing was reading to some seniors who needed a little bit of extra help for their English class. And I thought, wow, she's a professional counselor. I think that I could read to the kids, and she could use her skills, in other areas. And so one day a week I would go out and read to the kids there. How to.
Yeah, you've always been involved, always been committed, always been willing to step forward and to do those things when necessary like that. And I know what it is like to farm in the Eastern UP. You've got to be hardworking, creative, and innovative, and to make it work, to be successful. You and Gary have been very successful, especially because you had to teach Gary everything he knows about farming.
Or he had to figure out his own, because I didn't know it all either. But yes, I don't know if our listeners realize that even though Gary and I have been farming for 19 years, my husband Gary had never farmed a day in his life when we took over the farm 19 years ago. So it's that type of determination that I think that I bring to this position. I'd never planned to run for office. I had also never planned long term to take over the family farm, but I did, and I was committed to making that work, and I did the research and made the connections with people and figured it out, and we've been very successful at growing the farm.
And promoting agriculture in the Eastern UP, the farmers markets. I know you've been very involved in that, making them very successful.
Yeah.
That gives myself an opportunity to get good quality fresh vegetables grown locally. I know where they came from.
Yep.
I don't have to worry about any pesticides being used on them or any other type of contamination or illnesses.
We might
And I
want to watch
appreciate
for a
that.
worm in your cabbage, though.
A worm's not going to hurt you. But some of those chemicals, I'm afraid of.
When we first started selling vegetables, any leaves that had holes in them, I'm like, oh, I can't sell those. But it was interesting to see the response of the customers. They're like, no, I know you haven't used any pesticides. That's the proof right there. I'll take that.
It must have been good if the worm ate it.
There you go. Yeah, that's a way to look at it. So tell me a little bit about what we might anticipate going forward the next few weeks for the rest of the campaign. We've run into just a little bit of sign stealing so far. As a matter of fact, I've got a message here on my phone from a friend just west of St. Ignace here that actually had his yard sign attached with re-rod and put in for reinforcement. And it was there last night when they came home from dinner, and the sign part's gone this morning, and it wasn't windy overnight, so.
Well, my opinion, my advice would be, don't give it a second thought.
Yeah.
Just go out there and talk to the voters and tell the voters what you're going to do for us. And tell them about your past and how hard you've worked all your life and your commitment. That's what you have to focus on. Don't worry about those somebody's out stealing signs. You're always going to run into that. That's not important.
So you're able to overlook that, and I'm able to look at that. But what do I do with my team of followers who are being driven nuts by those types of things? Which, while we're on this note, before Gary says anything, let me just comment that the last thing I want any of my supporters doing is touching an opponent's sign. Like, don't go there. I actually have a challenge for you tonight. If on your way to work every day, you see a sign that's driving you nuts and you would love to remove it because you know it's not in a legal spot, don't touch the sign, but go knock 20 doors and tell them about me. How's that?
Absolutely. That's how you're going to win this. It's growing. I can feel the momentum. It's going to happen for you because you deserve it. And I'd be so proud to have you as my representative because I know you. I know your heart. Your heart's in the right place. You care about us. You care about the Eastern UP and the Northern Lower Peninsula. And you make a fine representative, Joanne.
Honestly, I didn't even pay him to say it. He's
No.
got the experience. I'm glad he trusts me. I know I can do this, and it's great to hear it from you with your experience too. Thank you so much, Gary. You see how we both have dimples?
Hey, Joanne.
Yes, Bernard.
I got a special guest for you today. Resident lives in St. Ignace. His name is Dave Kunze.
Dave Kunze.
Yes, so he'd like to come up and perhaps ask you a couple of questions.
I hear Dave's really good at putting signs back up. Mm-hmm.
He's amazing at putting signs
I
back
did one
up.
of those this afternoon.
Oh, you did? I wanted to hug him, but I didn't.
I hadn't planned on being on JoTV tonight, but Bernard kind of ambushed me a few minutes ago.
That's how we get stuff done around here, Dave.
Exactly.
Did you have any particular questions for me this evening?
No particular questions. I read the planks in your platform, and I agree with all of them. I think that the environment is super important. I think that transparency in our state government is crucial for us to survive.
Yep.
And I'm really proud of the fact that you're not taking corporate money and PAC money, and that you want to go to Lansing to represent us.
Yep.
And not the last person who wrote you a big check.
Correct.
I think that's huge.
I think it's important too, and that's totally why I'm running, is to represent the people of the district. I'm not running for me. As a matter of fact, when I first started back in April, I wanted to not say what I was running on, because I'm not running on what I believe. I needed to gather from other people what their concerns are and what their beliefs are to be able to properly represent them. Unfortunately, that didn't fly very far. They wanted me to stand for something, so I put it out there. But I think my votes will always center around what I'm hearing.
Well, things like Line 5 are crucially important. A failure in Line 5 would be basically the end of our economy in northern Michigan.
Yeah.
And the 107th is basically northern Michigan.
How do you think we continue to draw that picture and help people to understand? I felt last spring when Patty Peak, one of our neighbors here, had a piece in the Detroit Free Press, was when I felt like Senator Stabenow and Senator Peters got a little bit better image of what we were talking about. And a lot of what her article talked about was the winter weather and the frozen over and the high winds and how you can't get out there to contain a spill in that type of weather. How can we continue to get that message?
I think the momentum is already there, and I think that people are going to basically hold the government's feet to the fire on this.
Yeah.
I saw a letter on Facebook yesterday written by a local, and it was to the governor, and he was asking the governor if, pursuant to the agreement between Enbridge and the governor, Line 5 was shut down during the high winds we had on Friday. The waves were 8 to 11 feet out in the straits, and according to that agreement, they're supposed to shut down Line 5 during inclement weather like that. Apparently that wasn't done, and he was asking the governor why, and explaining to the governor that there's a lot of people, this individual is a conservative, and he's explaining to the governor that for a lot of people, particularly conservatives like him, this race could boil down to a one-issue race. He was wondering why the governor hadn't demanded that Enbridge comply with their agreement.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the energy is there, and I think the momentum is there, and I think that it's going to continue.
So how would the state of Michigan know if Enbridge shuts down the flow or not? What way do we have to verify?
I don't think we have a way.
I wonder. Okay. I did talk with a potential constituent from the Curtis area last evening. It's another one of my farm neighbors that I do farm business with, and he's on their township board. And he had the opportunity this summer. Enbridge had invited their board members to come out on site, not here over the straits, but back on land, and was showing them additional shutoffs or valves or check valves or something that they were putting in. So I know that they're doing like some improvements in the line, and they're also doing some strong public relations. I'll be curious to get to the bottom of
Actually, I have a friend who works for the DNR in Michigan.
Okay.
And from what he's told me, that the DNR is actually more concerned about the dozens of rivers and streams that the pipeline crosses. That's actually a bigger hazard than pipe in the straits. That most of these crossings are within a mile or two of the lake. And Enbridge just basically took a trench, put the pipe in, and didn't do any research on the acidity of the soil or anything like that. DNR is actually more concerned about those rivers and streams than they are about the.
Okay, it's a good conversation. So I'm going to take just another minute, Dave, and just have you tell me why it is that you have come out to support my race. Why is it that you've been motivated to go put the sign back up when there's other things you could be doing?
I'm at the point where we need transparency in our government. We need people that are responsive to the voters, not responsive to big donors. And we have a legislature right now that ignores the will of the people. When the legislature will overrule a referendum and attach it to a finance bill so that it's referendum proof against the will of the people, that legislature needs to go.
Yep, that's a good point.
And that's where we're at.
Very good. Thanks for coming. Well, isn't this been fun? We've got several people here in the office joining us. It's a great opportunity. I'm thrilled to have my campaign manager, Bernard Page, here from Naperville, Illinois. He's put together a very professional setup to allow us to broadcast this so that I can get information out to you each week. My high school friend, Diane Page, his wife, is here with us as well, and she's been acting as his assistant. And that means that her job description is very lengthy or just doesn't fully exist because it is constantly growing. So I thank Diane for being here as well. So as we roll into this upcoming week, I mean, we're just continuing to build steam. This isn't about how many hours are we working. This is about a job that needs to be done that has a very hard deadline. It's called November 6th. Make sure it's on your calendar because we've got to get everybody out to vote. So it's interesting that over time, voter turnouts are by far not anywhere near 100%. And so I need your help starting to build that network of people who have November 6th on their calendar and a plan to vote. I need to be very careful that I don't hear any stories on November 7th of, I stopped at my mom's. We got busy talking, and next thing I knew, it was almost past 8 o'clock. So on your calendar for November 6th, the polls will open at 7 a.m. and they'll close at 8 p.m. If you think it might be difficult for you to get to the polls that day, you could look at voting absentee. One of the reasons you can vote absentee is I think I might not be in the area on November 6th. That one seems like it could apply to quite a few people, actually. So to get an absentee ballot, you can go online to the Secretary of State website or just go to your local clerk's office and ask for an application for an absentee ballot. And then you fill out that form and you turn it back in, and they will mail you a absentee ballot that you can fill out and return at your leisure. So as I roll into this next week, really our goal is going to be meeting our neighbors. And I've got several events scheduled throughout the week. You can find the schedule both on my website, JoanneGalloway.com. Wasn't it convenient that name was available? And also on my Facebook page, Joanne Galloway. And I'm going to be in Petoskey on Tuesday, and then I'm going to be in Sault Ste. Marie on Thursday, and then I'll be in Sheboygan on Friday. So I invite you to come and meet me at the designated locations. Usually they're afternoon and late afternoon or evening. And we'll start out with a campaign update. We'll talk about what my strategy is to a win, and then talk about all the different ways that you can help by volunteering. So there's lots of variety of things. There's something to fit everybody's skills. So, yes, Bernard.
So canvassing is important, and I'm going to put up on the screen right now Sault Ste. Marie, just a sample map for canvassing. We have a number of these maps for a number of cities, and we would love to have everybody come out and start knocking on doors. I'm just going to cycle through while you talk about how important canvassing is.
So Bernard uses the word canvassing, and because I just don't really feel like I'm part of the political machine, I feel more comfortable saying meeting my neighbors. But really, the data shows that the best way to get the word out to people is face-to-face, one-on-one, meeting them right at their doors. And not everyone's home when we go out in the different neighborhoods, but we can leave information stuck in their door for them to read, and there's lots of ways they can find out more about me. But I'm building a network, an army actually, and it's continuing to grow every day, of people in all the communities that are willing to go out and tell their neighbors about me and why I'm running and how they feel that I'm going to represent them. So that's the biggest area where I need help right now. Now I'm afraid to even mention this, but sometimes people will say, that's a little bit outside their comfort zone. That's not how I've gotten where I've gotten today. Sometimes we need to go outside our comfort zone. I've done it actually a lot in my life. And this is the year, this is 2018, this is the year we've got to go outside our comfort zone. So you can come, I'll hold your hand, I'll knock on the doors, I'll do the talking, and you can support me. Usually actually by running the data right here on the phone. And it's really easy. Everyone who I've shown how to do it says they love it and it's easy. Now I'll tell you a little secret. After you've probably been to about 3 or 4 or 5 doors with me, you'll say, oh, well, while you're doing that one, I'll go do this one. At least that's what I've been seeing with the people I've been out with. So, and we have a lot of fun. I mean, we usually stop somewhere and have good food. The weather's been beautiful. It's been great to be out in it. And we just have a lot of chance to visit, and it's a chance to get to know me better and you'll be able to better tell your friends about me after we've talked. So I also hear that we have a new commercial I want to tell you about called The Survey. I am Joanne Galloway, and I approve this message. Wasn't that great? Get the point? Thank you so much to Jeff Lang for his creative work there, and Leanne. They did a fabulous job. I tell you, like I mentioned, I've got just a fabulous team of people that are putting the air under my wings and lifting me up every day. And I welcome you, if you're not already involved, to jump on board and be a part of it. It's an amazing way to meet people across the district, and together we'll be stronger and more powerful. Win or not, we're going to be an amazing force. So thanks for joining us today. Watch for the link for this to come up, and you can share it with your friends and help me continue to spread the word, whether you're out knocking doors with me or sharing posts on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Thank you. I'll see you next week, same time, same place.